You are watching
Trinity Episcopal School Production Network. TESPN.
Welcome to this week's TESPN podcast, our first one of 2025, and really excited to be joined by a couple of our senior basketball players, Derion, Ervin, and Mason Patrick, along with TESPN's senior as well, Hagen Andrew. So talking about boys basketball, as we record this today, y'all are sitting at 9-2. Early in the prep league season, just 1-0 so far in league, but with a bunch of games coming up in the next few days. At Stab tonight, home with St. Christopher's tomorrow. Next week on Tuesday, we see Collegiate and also Fuma next week. So by the end of next week, you will have seen all your league opponents. But just first question, so far, about a month and a half into the season, how are you feeling about things? How's this season been, maybe compared to previous seasons?
So for me, I'm feeling pretty good, especially for our record. We had some really good wins. During Suey Thompson, we beat Pilati. We beat Catholic, which is a really good compliment for us, especially because we lost to them second round in the States last year. So that was a really good, win for us, and I'm feeling really good so far this season. So.
I'm feeling good too. 9-2. That's the best start I've had since I've been at Trinity, and I feel like in the past years our team is definitely a different makeup than it has been. We have a different style, but I really like the chemistry we have going on. I feel like we're really kind of on a roll right now throughout the whole season so far.
Yeah, so for the team, what do you all think individually, what do you all think the biggest skill or attribute you bring to the table that really helps the team?
Personally, I feel like my kind of energy, whether that be defense, rebounding, or like I get downhill a lot, I feel like that helps, and it kind of helps with our team too, because we have a lot of players that do that too. So I feel like we really complement each other a lot when we do that.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like my shooting brings a lot of the, to the table. As a team, we kind of struggle a little bit on the, in the arc behind the arc, but I just try to bring, what the team needs. Try to, bring energy on the defensive end. Also be a good teammate and lift everybody up.
Well, Derion, it's been really fun to watch you this year. Much more expanded role. You were on the varsity team last year, but didn't get a whole lot of playing time. And even just as a leader, and on the bus ride on the way to Woodbury, I was talking to Coach Blazer. This is before you ended up going out and having probably the best game you've had so far at the varsity level. But he was praising your energy at practice, how you're always positive, and he also said you're the best shooter on the team from behind the arc. And so he was giving you a lot of praise when he and I were talking, and then you go out on the court, hit 4 threes, made a huge defensive play as well with a great steal, got some rebounds as well, and just really played some key minutes in a great road win against a team that, Woodbury was 7-1 coming into that game, and you go up to their place and win by almost 20 points. So having established, like I just said, that your role has increased dramatically from last year, how has it been? How are you feeling as that senior that's really made the leap from kind of into the bench guy to a really key role on the team?
So really, it feels actually really good, to be honest with you, because last year, obviously, we had other guys in front of me like, Trey Coles, Alex Chaikin, at those spots. Those are really good guys. Last year, I just, kept my head down, kept working, kept being positive. And, it feels good to be in that role now. Now I just want to do the best I can to help our team win, not be selfish and help these guys, reach our goals. So.
And just a quick follow-up, too, because you mentioned work, that you put the work in. And some of our viewers might enjoy hearing is my daughters have soccer practice all through the fall at Huguenot Park. Mm-hmm. And so I would drive them, and the soccer fields are like, if you've ever been to Huguenot Park, are like back in the back, and you drive past the outdoor basketball courts. Yeah. And I would drive past many times this late summer and into the fall, and even when it started getting a little cold outside in October, and I see a bunch of guys hooping on those outdoor courts, and I see you out there playing with, all the way from like kind of college age guys to some old heads out there, and just playing that sort of street ball outside courts. How did that factor in, just in terms of maybe improving your toughness and playing against really a different style of play?
So really, Really, that's a funny story because I actually used to never hoop at Huguenot Park because, like, when I was younger, I used to hate, like, being physical. Like, I used to hate that. And it was like this summer, as I also improved, like, getting in the gym and lifting, it was kind of like it never really bothered me anymore. So it was like I went out there one day, obviously I wasn't used to the physicality at first, but, I just adjusted to it, started playing with them almost every weekend, every week, so it was just like it helped me, expand my game from a physical standpoint.
And I think that's an underrated thing to just get out and play pickup basketball, especially with guys that maybe are older than you or stronger than you, or just come from like a different background that have a certain style of play.
Yeah.
Because now it's become so specialized with like individual training and so much skill work, and that's all great. But I know for us coming up, like we would go to parks all around the city and try and find the toughest cats to play against, and it just adds to that toughness. So when you're at Woodbury and their student section is packed and loud and harassing you and trying to taunt you, like that's nothing.
It didn't really bother me.
Right, like, and I feel like that maybe comes from playing against in those tougher environments.
Yeah.
And then Mason, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you're a 3-year starter. I'm almost positive I should made sure of this before we rolled camera, but you were all prep last year, right? And deservedly so. You recently eclipsed your 1,000th point in your high school career. You last month had a 45-point game against a strong opponent. That was, I think, the Pilati, right, from up in Maryland, a really historically very strong program, and you put up 45 points in a 32-minute game. One of the highest scoring individual outputs in the history of Trinity basketball, the illustrious history of Trinity boys basketball. So clearly your role has been big, and maybe is even bigger now. But what's the difference between being a junior who started, and I think you were a captain and all-league player, but you still had Alex and Trey Coles as those seniors, to now being like really the primary scorer and leader of the team? How's that adjustment been? And playing with your brother.
Yeah, it's been a pretty big adjustment, bigger than I thought, just because, last year we had a great leaders with Alex and Trey Coles, and I would say I was a leader on the team, but I wasn't very vocal. So this year I've been working on trying to be more vocal. And another thing is, like, now that I am like the primary scorer, I have a lot more defensive focusing on me, which makes scoring a lot harder. So I've had to find ways to like still score or just make plays for others, when like last year really like people would make plays for me and then I would score. So now it's kind of my job to do that. And also playing with my brother, it's fun. I don't know, really.
I'm gonna have when we get to the lightning round, I got another question about you and Maddox. But have you noticed yourself maybe getting other guys involved more when you see those double teams come, or when they try and move you off your strongest spots where you score? Are you taking an extra amount of pride maybe in making that assist this year?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially because me playing in college next year, I'm not gonna be able to score as much as I do now. So I gotta be ready to make those plays and also just do other things other than scoring, because that's important.
So yeah, as Hamlin mentioned earlier, you recently scored your 1,000th point. I was at that game, and it's a pretty good game. But now, and this is for both of y'all too, I'm just saying about you, that's a pretty great achievement. But where do you go from here? What achievements do you hope to look back on this season? I don't know, just what achievements do you hope to get?
I'm really just focusing on our team achievements. That's our big thing. We want to beat Stab tonight. We want to win the prep league, make a run the state tournament. So those are really my goals for the rest of the year.
Yeah, same. I say the same as Mason said. For me, really, I have a lot. Obviously, I have individual goals. I want to average around 9 points a game to keep adding on to the offense. But also, I want to do as much as I can to help this this team win. Really, I feel like that this team has so much potential, and I feel like that if we keep fulfilling it, we're going to be even better than we ever thought we would be. So yeah.
And yeah, my other kind of final, longer, more thought out question before we hop into the lightning round is, it really, one thing that strikes me about the team this year is a lot of talent, there's a lot of depth, but there's a really large age range, right? So you've got y'all and several other seniors, but then there's a whole bunch of I think there's 5 sophomores on the team, I think, several juniors as well. Obviously, Derion Brown is one, but Miles and Mason.
Also got 8th grade.
And then I was getting to that, yeah. And then you've got an 8th grader. So I mean, y'all are practically grown men at this point, and then you got all the way down to 8th grader. You got one 10th grader who looks like an 8th grader too. So how is it bringing guys from all those different ages? Probably on the 15 or 16 guys on the team. I bet you have 12 different middle schools that you all came from. Whether it was Hanover County Schools, Chesterfield. We have guys from private school, guys from the city, guys from all over. How do you take those different ages, experiences, locations in this region that you come from, and make it all one unit that's really bonded together? How do y'all, as senior leaders, make that happen?
So for me, like, from everybody coming from different areas, backgrounds, and experiences, I try to observe all that and try to see how I can take that into my game, how we can come together and bond with each other, with the different experiences we had, because middle school, my middle school season was actually really, like, it was really messed up. Like, 7th grade, I actually got cut from my 7th grade team. And then 8th grade year, it was COVID, but we didn't have a season until that spring. And I made the team that year. Then I came straight to Trinity after that. So, from that aspect, it was like just learning and understanding other people was helping us come together too. So.
I feel like just like all the wide age range, it definitely took some time to get adjusting. Just because like you can't talk to I can't talk to Derion, who's a senior, the same way I talk to Jeremiah, who's an 8th grader. Just because like sometimes when you're young on the court and like people get emotional, like it's just like you gotta learn how to communicate differently. But also I feel like we are all very close. So like a lot of our team played football together. So we're all friends, really. So even though there's a large age difference, I feel like we could still work very well together.
Before we hop into this quick lightning round to end it, Hagen, you got anything else?
Nothing else.
All right, so I'm going to do maybe 5 or 6 quick questions. Just first answer that pops in your head. What's been your favorite class at Trinity?
Probably I'll say my English class.
I would say my anatomy class last year.
Do you have a pregame ritual that you do, like a superstition?
I'm just listening to music and trying to keep my mind present.
Before the game, I have to slap myself in the face before I do my starting thing.
Who's your funniest teammate?
Derion.
I wouldn't say that.
Who would you say is your biggest rival?
Well, I say our biggest rival is definitely. I feel like our biggest rival is St. Chris, but I hate Benedictine more than anything.
I say our biggest rival is St. Chris by far.
All right, and in 10 years, where do you see yourself?
Say probably like an orthopedic doctor.
I don't really know what I want to do. Maybe be a real estate agent.
All right, and then we'll end with this one. All right, Derion, if you played one-on-one against, is Scoop your uncle or your?
Yeah.
Okay, if you played one-on-one to 21 against Scoop, what would the score be?
Easily 21-0.
Him?
Yeah. No, me. Now, realistically, it would be like 21-18. I would win.
Okay, we'll have to make sure he sees that. And then Mason, you know what I'm going to ask you,
I know
right?
what you're-
101, you against Maddox.
It is not going to be that close. I think I'm going to win like 21-10 to Maddox.
Sounds good. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Really was a pleasure. I think we're all really proud of the start y'all are off to and can't wait to see how the season continues to unfold. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, all our fans of Mason Patrick, we also interviewed Mason recently after the game where he scored his 1,000th point. So that's also up on our TESPN page. You can see that as well when Mason was still kind of in his game flow. That was a great interview too. So Mason's been doing a lot of this recently and Media Day. So if you're not sick of Mason yet, there's other chances to hear him talk hoops and his experience here. Thanks as always to Hagen. Hope everybody watching can get out and see these guys play real soon, including Friday, January 17th, the next home game against St. Christopher's, 7 o'clock. Also, come check out the girls if you can before that at 5:30 as they continue their great start to the season. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.